Hello everyone, yung topic na didiscuss namin is about a solar-powered home. So, una is the tree configuration. Meron dito na tinatawag na grid-tied, off-grid, and the hybrid. So, umpisan natin sa grid-tied. Ano nga ba ang tinatawag na grid-tied? A grid-tied solar power system is connected to the home and to the traditional electricity utility grid. This type of solar power system does not include any storage battery. So, ang key features ng isang grid-tied is there's no need for batteries. And also, lower initial setup cost siya. And net metering allows you to sell excess power to the grid. And also, it depends on the grid for backup power. And syempre, meron din siyang mga pros and cons. So, sa pros muna tayo. It is lower cost due to no need for batteries. Katulad nga nung sinabi kanina, it is lower initial setup cost. Next is ongoing savings on electricity bills. And the last one is environmentally friendly. And sa cons naman niya is no power during grid outrage unless you have a backup system. Next is relies on the utility company's infrastructure. And next is dito naman tayo sa off-grid. Kapag sinabi namang off-grid, this type is a standalone system that completely disconnects from the electric power grid. It contains large set of battery packs which stores the energy within the day to be used at night or at times when sunlight intensity is low. So, ang key features naman ng isang off-grid is it is a complete independence from the utility grid. So, it requires a battery bank for storing energy. Unlike sa grid-tied kanina na there's no need for batteries, dito naman sa off-grid is meron siyang, ay nagre-require siya ng isang battery tank for storage. Next is the solar panel need to be sized appropriately to meet all the energy needs for the home. So, ang pros naman ng isang off-grid is it complete energy independence. And next is ideal for remote areas without grid access. And ang mga cons naman niya is high initial cost kasi nga kailangan ng battery. Yung grid-tied kanina is low cost siya due to no batteries required. Next is batteries need maintenance and have a limited lifespan. Next, if batteries are not properly sized, power shortage may occur. So, dito sa off-grid is very kailangan yung presence ng isang battery compare sa grid-tied na hindi na kailangan ng battery. So, tignan naman natin sa hybrid. So, a grid intertied solar power system is also connected to the traditional utility power grid which contains battery backup. The addition of a battery backup enables the system to work when there is power interruption. So, ang key features ng isang hybrid is battery storage to store excess energy. Next is can supply power during the grid outrage. Next is the typically has more advanced inverters to manage power distribution. And ang pros niya is provide backup for power during outage. Next is reduce reliance on the grid. And next is more energy efficient and reliable than grid-tied alone. Ang cons naman niya is more expensive than grid-tied due to battery storage. Katulad lang din siya ng off-grid na nagkakos siya ng expensiveness and ng high initial cost dahil sa batteries. Next is batteries need maintenance and eventual replacement. So, ang off-grid at ang hybrid is pareho na nagre-require ng batteries for storage of energy. Dito makikita natin ang isang solar-powered home in grid tied. So, how a solar-powered home in grid tied really works. So, in terms of solar power generation, the solar panel on the roof capture the sunlight and converts it into electricity. So, in DC power siya, and this DC electricity is then sent to an inverter which convert it into AC power, na which is this type of power is used by home appliances. This type of electricity used by most of the home appliances. So for powering the home, the AC electricity is used to power your home's electrical needs. And any access of electricity when you're producing more power than you're using is sent back to the grid, typically through a net metering system. This means that your utility company may credit you for the extra power, which can offset your electricity bill. And in terms naman of grid support, during times when your solar panels are not producing enough power, like at night or an overcast days, the grid supplies electricity to your home. And essentially, you are still connected to the utility grid and can draw power when needed. But the goal is to minimize your reliance on the grid by generating your own power during the daylight hours. So let's talk more about the grid tied. In grid tied type, the solar power system is being connected in parallel to the electric supply that goes inside the house and only function during the day. And excess energy that is being produced is then fed into the grid. So since there is no battery backup nga sa grid tied, it does not produce power at night. Kaya sinabi na nagpa-function lang siya during the day. And during brownout and solar power system is also shutdown state. Hence, does not produce electricity. And its main purpose is to save electricity. In fact, when the solar array's ratings matches the electric consumption, zero bill can be attained. And when the solar array ratings exceed the day and night electric consumption, the system will be able to produce excess power which will be paid by the distribution utility. Andito naman yung mga grid-tied basic parts. Una dyan is the solar panel. Next is the grid-tied inverter, which is meron siyang two category, yung with or without limiter and square wave or pure sine wave. Next is the DC circuit breaker, the DC surge protection device, the AC circuit breaker, the AC surge protection, and the time delay switch, and the DC or AC electrical wires, and the MC4 connectors, the solar rail, and the clamps. So, i-discuss natin yan isa-isa. Unahin natin dito sa solar panels. The heart of a solar power home is the solar panels. A typical solar cell will only produce around whole a volt by connecting them together in series inside the panel. A more useful voltage is achieved. Most small solar panels rated 150 watts or below are rated as 12 volts, while larger solar panels are 24 volts naman. A 12-volt solar panel produces around 14 to 18 volts when put under a load. This allows a single solar panel to charge up a 12 volts battery. Incidentally, if you connected a voltmeter up to a solar panel when it is under a load, you may well see voltage readings of up to 26 volts. This is normal in an open circuit on a solar panel. As soon as you connected the solar panel into circuit, this voltage level will drop to around 14 to 18 volts. Solar panel can be connected together to create a solar arrays. The output of a solar arrays is computed much like a battery. So, meron siyang dalawang connection, the series and the parallel. So, series connection increases the voltage while current remains the same. While sa parallel connections naman is, ang nag-i-increase is the current while the voltage naman yung nagre-remain as the same. When you connect multiple panels together, the power of the overall system increases regardless of whether they are connected in series or in parallel. So, dito makikita natin yung solar panel connections in series or in parallel and also in series parallel, in combination of a series and a parallel. So, when connecting a solar panel, you can arrange them in series, in parallel, or a combination of the both, depending on the electrical needs of your system. Understanding the differences between series and parallel connections will help you design an efficient solar power system. So, let's discuss first the series connection of a solar panel. In series connection, the positive terminal of one solar panel is connected to the negative terminal of the next panel. Katulad ng makikita natin dito, na yung positive terminal is connected siya into negative terminal nung kasunod niya na solar panel. So, this result in a higher voltage but the same current as a single panel. The total voltage of the system is the sum of the individual panel voltages while the current remains the same as that of a single panel. So, how it works nga ba? So, in terms of voltage, when panels are connected in series, the total voltage is the sum of the voltages of each panel. And in terms naman ng current, the current remains the same as the current of a single panel. So, kung ano yung current niya, ayun na yun, stays as it is. So, for example, if nag-connect tayo ng 3 panels with each panel producing 18 volts and 5 ampere, yung total voltage will be 18 plus 18 plus 18. So, with a total of 54 volts. Kasi nga sabi, yung total voltage is the sum of lang ng voltages ng bawat panels. So, habang yung current naman niya is magre-remain as 5 amperes. So, dito naman tayo sa solar panel connections in parallel. So, in terms of parallel connection naman, the positive terminal of all the solar panels are connected together and the negative terminals are connected together din. So, makikita natin dito na lahat ng positive side ng solar panel is sila yung connected to each other. While yung mga negative side naman, sila naman yung magkaka-connect. So, this results in a higher current but the same voltage as a single panel. So, in terms ng parallel, katulad nga nung sinabi natin kanina is mas higher naman yung current. And ang mag-i-stay as same naman dito is yung voltage. Kung sa series, ang nag-i-stay is yung current niya. Dito naman sa parallel, ang mag-i-stay as the same is yung voltage naman. The total current of the system is the sum of the individual panel currents, while the voltage remain the same as a single panel. So, how it works naman as in connected in parallel. So, in terms of voltage, the voltage of the system is the same as the voltage of the panel, katulad ng anong sinabi natin kanina. And in current naman, the total current is the sum of the currents of all the connected panels. So, for example, pag nag-connect tayo ng 3 panels, with each panels producing 18 volts. Sige, 18 volts pa rin and 5 amperes. So, yung magiging total voltages naman niya is 18 volts pa rin. While yung total current niya is magiging 5 plus 5 plus 5. So, total of 15 ampere. So, in conclusion, sa series, ng example natin na 18 volts and 5 ampere, yung current niya is remain as 5 ampere while yung voltages naman niya is nag 18 times 3 tayo as 3 panels yung connected with each other. So, in parallel naman is 18 volts pa rin siya, nag-remain as same while nag 5 times 3 naman tayo as 3 panels naman yung connected with each other.
Inverter. Inverter converts the DC output at the solar panel into AC, which is the standard used by all the commercial household appliances. Hence, the inverter output matches the voltage within the house that is coming from the grid. Traditionally, there is usually one central inverter in the solar system. A more recent invention has been the microinverter. Microinverters are connected to individual solar panels so that each individual panels provide a high voltage and alternating current. These setups are typically used only with grid-tie systems and are not suitable for systems with battery backup. For grid-tie systems, though costly, they do offer some significant benefits over the more traditional central inverter. A grid-tie inverter unique characteristics over the other type is it automatically shut down the system when there is a power interruption. So, as a consumer, meron tayong available na inverter na mahal and mura. So, nasa sa'yo na rin yun kung ano yung prefer mo or ano yung kasya sa budget mo na gusto mong bilhin na inverter. So, simply, inverters converts DC output to AC. Yung household appliances kasi gumagamit yun ng AC. So, need ng inverter sa mga solar panel para i-convert yung AC to AC. As is pure sine wave inverters. This type output voltage in the form of sine waves. Utilities also provide sine wave output. Because of these pure sine wave inverters usually needed if you're going to be tied to the grid. Typically, you need pure sine wave inverters for sensitive equipment, never TVs, CFL light bulbs, and appliances with AC motors, microwaves, and generators. Pure sine wave inverters are capable of producing cleaner, smoother, quieter, and more reliable electricity to operate appliances and electronics without interference. Technology sells a range of pure sine wave inverters of varying capacities to fit your solar installations and your energy needs. Their sine wave inverter is the modified sine wave inverters. In pure sine wave inverters, the AC power produced by the inverter very closely matches an actual sine wave. In modified sine wave inverters, the polarity of Raphia switches from positive to negative. When looking at the wave, it has a stair-step square pattern where polarity is flipped back and forth. The choppy wave can negatively affect more delicate, sensitive equipment. If you have medical equipment you need to power, such as CPAP machine, you won't be able to use modified sine wave inverter. Additionally, in many cases, you'll hear a hum with the device attached to a modified sine wave inverter. The only advantages of this type is over pure sine wave is that this is much cheaper. So, as a summarization, yung modified pure sine wave is cheaper siya kay pure sine wave. kapag gagamit ka ng modified sine wave, makakarinig ka ng mga hangin sa appliances. If yung appliances na yun, meron siyang motors. Lalo na if yung mga appliances and na hindi naman basta-basta, lalo na yung mahal yung mga modern na appliances, hindi siya kakayanin ng modified sine wave inverters. So, kung pag-uusapan dito is yung functionality, mas maganda yung pure sine wave. Pero, medyo pricey nga lang yung magagastos. DC circuit breaker. So, DC circuit breaker sometimes referred to as the PV disconnects are placed between the solar panels and the inverter, or in some cases built into inverter. Just like a typical circuit breaker, it acts as an overcurrent protective device. Short circuit on the part of a solar array may produce a high value of current which might damage the inverter or the system as a whole. Before it happens, the DC circuit breaker acts as an automatic switch disconnecting the inverter from the solar array. It may also serve as a manual switch if there is a need to turn the solar power system off or isolate the solar panel from the rest of the system. So basically, this is circuit breaker, nag-act siya as overcurrent protective device. Yung ano nga ba yung nagiging dahilan ng overcurrent? Mga nagiging cause nito is yung short circuit or electrical or other electrical anomalies. Yung short circuit, so dun tayo sa may solar panel. Yung short circuit kasi sa solar panel, nagpo-produce yan ng high value current na pwedeng maging damage sa inverter. So, yung circuit breaker, nag-a-act siya as a protective device para hindi masira yung inverter ng solar panel natin. Other function din niya is yung PV disconnection. So, next natin is AC circuit breaker. AC circuit breaker are placed naman siya after the inverter. So, kanina yung DC circuit breaker between solar panel and inverter. Just like a typical CB, it acts as an overcurrent protective device due to short circuit and overloading. RCBO stands for Residual Current Operated Circuit Breaker with Overcurrent Protection. In the RCBO type, it has added protection since it can sense earth leakage current where the typical breaker cannot. It has a capability to trip when somebody touches a live wire, thus protecting the people around it. It may also serve as a manual switch if there is a need to turn the solar power system. So, additional info lang natin sa may circuit breaker. Merong 5 basic components using every circuit breaker. Number 1 is tripping or protective mechanism, also known as trip unit. This triggers the operating mechanism once an electrical fault happens. Number 2, operating mechanism opens or shuts the breaker to fulfill its protective role. Pangatlo is molded frame, outer protective and supported base of most breakers. It shelters the other component of the breaker, providing insulation. Arc cues, located near the contacts. Cues prevent damage and mostly heat from intervening with the circuit breaker's functionality and move apart when a fault occurs. Contacts. There are 3 types of contacts. Una dito is yung RT, auxiliary or main contacts that are used to ensure optimal airflow inside the breaker. So, yung next naman natin is yung DC surge protection device. The SPD generally protects the system from power surge or more appropriately called voltage transients. SPD directs this excess power to the ground in PV system. Since solar panels are heavily exposed in the environment, Transient voltage primarily caused by lightning, either indirectly or directly. Multiple intercorrection within the power cables is very susceptible to electromagnetically induced transients where power surge could also arise. Transient voltage is the occurrence of very high voltage in a very short duration of time, around tens to hundreds of microseconds. Exposure to these transient voltages may cause a catastrophic component damage leading to system failure. So baka ma-misconceptualize nyo yung SPD sa may circuit breaker. Yung DC surge protection device offers protection pero different siya kay circuit breaker. Yung diba yung circuit breaker, pinoprotect niya siya sa overcurrent, while ito naman yung SPD protects from transient voltage. So, ano nga ba yung transient voltage? Yung transient voltage, ito yung temporary na pagtaas ng voltahe. So, yung tagal nito is only around tens to hundreds of microsecond. Saan nga ba nanggagaling yung transient voltage? Yung transient voltage is only caused by lightning. Next is the AC surge protection device. An AC surge protection device is an electrical device designed to protect appliances and electronic equipment from voltage spikes or surge in an AC power supply. These surges are typically caused by events like lightning strikes, power grid switching, or electrical faults. SPD helps to divert excess voltage away from the connected devices, preventing damage from high voltage. So yung AC surge protection device, similar lang din naman siya sa may DC surge. More on AC side lang itong AC surge protection device. So, as an additional information, ano nga ba yung importance ng SPD? Yung una is preventing damage. SPDs can prevent damage to expensive electronic equipment such as computers, TVs, and appliances caused by power surge. Number 2 is protecting data. Damages to electric equipment can lead to data loss, and surge protection can help prevent this. Number 3 is improving reliability by protecting equipment from surge. SPD can help ensure the long-term reliability of electrical systems.
Time delay switch. This can also be called as power on delay. It delays the turning on any electric device for a desired time interval. This device serves its useful purpose usually when brownout occurs. After a brownout, when the power has been already restored, there is a tendency of power surge which may damage the system if it is being turned on right away. To prevent this, time delay switch delays the turning on of the system for a minute or even a bit more. So let's proceed to the next one, that is called net metering. So what is net metering? Net metering allows customer of distribution utilities or DUs to install an on-site renewable energy or RE facility not exceeding 100 kilowatts in capacity so they can generate electricity for their own use. Any electricity generated that is not consumed by the customer is automatically exported to the DU's distribution system. The DU then gives a peso credit for the excess electricity received, equivalent to the DU's blended generation cost, excluding other generation adjustments, and deducts the credit earned to the customer's electric bill. So we're all wondering if net metering already available in the Philippines? On May 27, 2013, the Energy Regulatory Commission adopted ERC Resolution 09, Series of 2013, approving the rules enabling the net metering program for renewable energy. This resolution was published on May 10, 2013 in newspapers of general circulation in the country and took effect 15 days thereafter. Thus, the net metering rules took effect in the Philippines on July 24, 2013. The net metering program is available only to on-grid distribution system or DUs connected to the transmission grid. So next question is, what benefit will I get if I go into net metering? By generating electricity for own use, you reduce the amount of electricity you buy from your local DU. The rate of savings realized on electricity generated for own use is equivalent to the DU's retail rate consisting of charges for generation, transmission, system loss, distribution, subsidies, taxes, and other charges. You can also earn peso credits on any excess electricity exported to the DU equivalent to the DU's blended generation cost, excluding other generation adjustments. The peso credits earned is the used to reduce your electricity bill. Who are qualified to participate in the net metering program? DU customers who are in good credit standing in the payment of their electric bills to their DU are qualified to participate in the net metering program for renewable energy. These customers are referred to in the rules as qualified end user or QE. These are the consequences of not applying for net metering. In this case, that solar power system is being installed and doesn't apply for net metering, any excess energy that is being fed to the grid will be billed to the customer. Example is when the solar array is rated at 5 kilowatts and the load consumption is only 4 kilowatts, the system will have an excess of 1 kilowatt, which will be sent to the grid. This excess energy will pass through the meter, hence will be billed to the owner. Is there any way besides net metering that a customer having a solar power system producing excess energy during the day and yet will not pay for it? This can be achieved by using an inverter with limiter. This device limits the power that the system will dissipate. It automatically detects the maximum power that the system can provide without the excess being sent to the grid. So let me show you how the circuit connection looks. And this one is the recommended AC for maximum safety. And this one is how the solar energy works from solar panel to panel board. And the last one is how the circuit breaker looks from outside to inside.
Wire sizing. TW. Thermoplastic wire or moisture resistance and flame retardant. THHN. Thermoplastic high heat resistance nylon kit. Designed for specific installation material. Temperature rating and condition of use. Sustainable for dry and damp location. THHN. THWN2. THWN is similar to THHN except it is water resistance, adding the W into acronym. THWN is rated up to 167 degree of or 75 degrees C in wet environment, but its successor THWN2 is rated for 90 degrees C in both wet and dry environments. Historical THHN and THWN were separate wires, but now you typically find the capabilities combined in THHN, THWN to design. Note, here's a breakdown to help make some sense of the lettering. The T stands for thermoplastic insulation cable. Since H means the wire is heat resistant, HH means that the wire is heat resistant and can withstand a higher temperature. N means nylon coated. The added W signifies that the wire is also water resistant. PB wires. This type is an exclusive kind of wire created for PV application. This cable behaves extremely well in very hot temperature and harms environmental condition. Its special characteristic compared to other wire. It is insulation and outer shells, which is made of XLPE or EPR. XLPE is acronym for Cross-Link Polyimide. It is a thermosetting polymer, meaning that the material is coated under heat and it the brush from bond in all direction, forming a three-dimensional matrix. Next slide, dito yung napakita yung mga sizing ng wire. The next is NEC table 310.15B16. Temperature rating of conductor. The next slide is for ambient temperature other than 30 degrees Celsius and 86 degree. Multiple the allowable capabilities specified in the ampacity table by the appropriate correction factor shown below. Ambient temperature adjustment for raceway or cable exposed to sunlight or rooftops. Distance above roof to bottom of raceway or cable. Next naman is adjustment factor for more than 3 current carrying conductor. Look for the ISC or PV cell. Multiple by 2 safety factors, irradiance, and continuous duty. Repairs on table 310.15 for the sizing of wire. Repair of table 310.15 for APS-C correction due to ambient temperature more than 30 degrees Celsius. Repair of the table 310.15 for ambient temperature adjustment due to conduit of wired distance from the roof. Repair to table 310.15 for adjustment due to more than 3 wires inside the conduit. Find the adjustment due to voltage drop. The value obtained in the last step will the basic for the size of wire due to use a PV system. Next naman is standard ampere rating for fuses and invert time circuit breaker.
Sample problem. Find the proper wire size of a grid-tied PV system consisting of 3 just solar panels connected in series with specs of at the previous slide. So, ang step po natin, look at the ISC rating of PV cell. Makikita natin sa likod ng just solar panel, yung ISC PV rating na 9.75 ampere. Short circuit current yung nalagay. Ngayon, ang ISC natin is 9.75 ampere. Siya na magiging IPV natin. Step 2, multiply by 2 factors, radiance and continuous duty. IPV new. Ang IPV natin is 9.75 ampere. Mamultiply natin siya sa 1.25. Kaya magiging 15.23 amperes. Step 3 naman, refer on the table 310.15 for the size of the wire. Ngayon, pagka binalik natin dun sa may table, makikita natin na ini-indicate ng number 14 THHN with an ampacity of 25 amperes. Pero makikita din natin na since yung number 14 AWG is not the best practice for PV system. Kaya ang gagamitin natin is yung number 12 THHN with ampacity of 30 amperes. Ngayon, ang step 4 natin, ampacity correction due to ambient temperature. So, alam naman natin na yung Pilipinas is nasa temperature ng around 37 degrees Celsius. Makikita natin sa table 310.15 na ini-indicates doon na 30 times 10, 30 times 0.91 is equals to 27 amperes. Step 5 naman, ambient temperature adjustment due to roof wire distance. For 1/2, in above the roof, 37 plus 22 is equals to 59 degrees Celsius. The table 310.15 indicates 27.0.71 is equals to 19.17 amperes. Since 19.71 amperes is greater than 15.23 amperes, our selected number 12 wire will fit the system. Step 6. Since there's only 2 wire inside the conduit, this step can now be bypassed. Pwede na po natin i-bypass yung step number 6. Step number 7, adjustment due to voltage drop. Ang voltage drop natin is 3%. Gagamitin lang natin yung formula na VD is equals to 2IR. And making VD is equals to 2 times 9.3 times 12.9 times 25 over 6,530 is equals to 0.92 volts. Yung 9.3 po na yun, makikita natin sa just solar panels. Yan, yung voltage drop natin, 0.92 over 32.26 times 100% is equals to 2.85%. Ngayon, since 2.85% is less than 3%, our selected number 12 wire will fit the system. On the previous problem, in case the voltage drop exceed 3%, let's say 5%, the additional computation as it follows. Since the initial selected wire is 12, number 12, THHN, make a one-step higher adjustment. Select initially number 12, THHN. Voltage drop 2 times 9.3 times 12.9 times 25 all over 10,380 is equals to 0.058 volts. Ngayon, ang percentage voltage drop natin is 0.058 over 32.26 times 100% is equals to 0.18%. Select number THHN as the final wire to be used in the system. Note that K, direct current constant, this is a constant representing the direct current resistance for a 1,000 circular mills conductors that's 1,000 feet long. At an operating temperature of 75 degrees Celsius, the direct current constant value you should use for a copper is 12.9 ohms and 21.2 ohms for aluminum conductors. The K constant is suitable for alternating current circuits where the conductors do not exceed number 1 over 0.
Circuit breaker sizing. First thing to consider in sizing a CV or PB system is the ruling in PEC, which states that PB circuit current is continuous. Thereby, the maximum OCPD rating is 125% of the maximum current. PEC 2017 Article 6.90.2.2b and Article 6.90.2.3b. So the PEC categorized the R photovoltaic circuit continuously. And to compute our current, kung ano yung maximum current, dagdagan lang natin ng 25% and yun na yung size ng circuit breaker. Therefore, in reference to the problem in conductor sizing, on the DC side, the max current is 15.23 ampere. So we multiply by 125%, that is 19.4. So wala tayong mabibili na exact current na 19.04 ampere. So titingnan natin sa table, ang pinakamalapit na pwede natin gamitin ay 20 ampere circuit breaker on our DC side. On our AC side, since the inverter rating is 1 kilowatt, dividing this by 220 volts, so the formula for current is power divided by voltage. So dividing this by 220 volts, the current will be 4.5 ampere. Multiply by 125%, that is 5.625 ampere. So wala din exact na 5.625 ampere. So we use 6 ampere circuit breakers. So that's RCBO. Revisiting our number 10 THHN stranded wire. Ampacity equals 30 degrees Celsius is equals to 40 ampere. So hindi naman 30 degrees ang ambient temperature dito sa Pilipinas. So We correct it the correction due to ambient temperature. 40 times 0.91 equals to 36.4 ampere. Correction due to the rope wire distance. 37 plus 22 equals to 59 degrees Celsius. 36.4 times 0.71 equals to 25.8 ampere. So we get our final ampere for our number 10 THHN stranded wire. That is a 25.8 ampere. Next is SPD or surge protection device. The role is simple in sizing of surge protection device. Basically, the UC rating of the SPD should match the system voltage or a bit higher, 15% to 25% for SPDs to attain the longer lifespan. So therefore, in reference to the problem in conductor sizing, on our DC side, the SPD should have a AC rating between 100 volts to 120 volts, which allows it to properly protect the system from the voltage surge while ensuring that the SPD can handle surge without being prematurely worn out. So on our AC side, the SPD should have a UC rating between 230 volts to 275 volts, which aligns with the common operating voltage for AC systems and provides the necessary protection from surge while also prolonging the lifespan of the device. This approach allows for effective protections while ensuring the SPDs operate efficiently over time, reducing the likelihood of frequent replacements or failures due to the excessive surge condition. So sabi lang dito sa SPD na para mas mapahaba natin ang lifespan ng ating SPD, it should be a little higher than the system voltage. Once again, dapat mas malaki lang ng bahagya yung UC rating dun sa system voltage. Nominal discharge current or I sub n. In the context of surge protection devices, SPDs refers to the peak value of surge current with an 8/20 waveform that the SPD can withstand for 15 surges without failing. Next is the maximum discharge current, Imax. Refers to the highest current a surge protection device SPD can handle during a surge event without being damaged or failing. This rating is important because it defines the ability of the SPD to protect the system during extreme voltage surge, such as those caused by lightning strikes or switching operations. So next is the maximum continuous operating voltage, UC. Is the highest voltage that a surge protection device SPD can safely handle under normal operating conditions without becoming damaged or degraded. This rating indicates the maximum voltage that can be applied to the SPD continuously during standard operation without affecting its performance. Last is the voltage protection rating, VPR, also known as U sub P, is a key specification for a surge protection device SPD. It indicates the maximum voltage that the SPD will allow to pass through the protected equipment during a surge event. Essentially, it shows the clamping voltage, the voltage at which the SPD will begin to conduct and divert the surge energy to the ground, protecting the connected equipment from the high voltage spikes. Next is solar panel orientation. On those countries located at the northern hemisphere, solar panels should be facing south direction for maximum sunlight. So, ayun nga, yung mga bansang located sa Northern Hemisphere should face the solar panels south direction for the maximum sunlight. While in the Southern Hemisphere, it should face north. So, since the Philippines is above equator, it's belong to the Northern Hemisphere. The solar panel should be facing south direction for maximum efficiency. A general rule for optimal annual energy production is to set the solar panel tilt angle equal to the geographical latitude. Essentially, the closer a solar panel is located to the equator, the more the panel should be pointing straight up. The closer the panel is to the poles, the more they should tilt towards the equator. Therefore, in Philippines, the solar panel tilt should be 12 degrees to 14 degrees. Next is zero bill. So, how to compute zero bill? Compute your monthly average kilowatt per hour. Use 300 kilowatt over months. So, convert to daily usage. 300 kilowatt over months divide by 30 days equals 10 kilowatt per day, or equal siya sa 10,000 watt per day. So, here are some certain point of analysis. Yung 10,000 watt per day, dapat ma-produce ng solar setup natin during the time na nag-ooperate ito. So, alam naman natin na the solar powered home can be operate during the time that there is a sunlight. So, gaano ba katagal yung sikat ng araw sa Pilipinas? Referring to our weather bureau, this tells us that the sun peak here in the Philippines is around 4.5 to 5.5 hours per day. So, hindi naman 24 hours may sikat ng araw sa Pilipinas. So, that's why in order to get our solar area rating, we just divide 10,000 watt per day to 5 hours per day. So, we can get 2,000 watts. Pero meron itong certain error for the computation. Because ang pinag-uusapan dito ay sikat ng araw. Magdadagdag tayo ng bahagya around 10%. So, we multiply 2,000 watts by 1.1 and we can get 2,200 watts. So, ito na yung rating ng solar array natin para magkaroon tayo ng zero bill. So, dito sa number of panels, 2,200 divided by 300 is equals to 7.33. So, equal siya sa 8 solar panels para ma-produce natin yung watts na kailangan natin sa zero bill.